introduce you to the newest member of our family, Lexi. This is the first project I've done since we brought home our pup, so I figured it should be something special for her. Lexi seems to like it so far. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that little notification bell. You can also follow me on Instagram at timberandt_ for more behind the scenes. This hurts my hand right now. Ow! You got little daggers in there. Yes, little daggers. Let's get started so I can show you one way you can spoil your pup with a brand new bed on a budget.
First thing you need to do is figure out the size bed you need. If you're using a pre-existing bed cushion, just use that for measurement. But if you're making your own cushions, you can get a rough idea of size by measuring the length and width of your dog while they're laying down. Mine is still a pup, so I'm going to get a rough idea and then make it a bit bigger. Once you've got your measurements, add 1 inch to the length and width to find the dimensions of the bottom of the bed. I used 1/2 inch plywood and cut it on a table saw. I used one 10-foot 2x8 piece of spruce and then ran my dado blade along the entire length of the board. I put the dado slot 1 inch up from the bottom and made the dado 1/2 inch wide and 1/2 inch deep. You could also use a router for this part. I used a dado blade so my plywood bottom sits nice and sturdy in my box. Then I cut my sides to length by turning the blade on my miter saw to 45 degrees. I used my orbital sander with a 120 grit pad to clean the boards up a little bit. You could also use a palm sander or sandpaper.
I did this project today and I've already made 2 mistakes. The first one I did was I cut this piece the wrong angles. They're supposed to be angled out. And then I had to trim my plywood and I started trimming it a little too short. So I think I'm just gonna fill this in with this little guy and you'll never even know that it happened. Oops.
Then I drew on my fancy cup for the front panel, which you can find a link to the template in the description below. And then I cut it out using my bandsaw. You could also use a scroll saw or jigsaw for this part. Once all my wood was cut, I did a dry fit of the bed to make sure everything fit. I glued it together using LePage wood glue and then air nailed the corners using 2.5 inch 18 gauge air nails. I filled the air nail holes with a wood putty and covered any knots using bin to prevent them from coming through. Then painted the bed using Cloud White paint by Benjamin Moore. If you want to stain your bed, just skip these steps.
So I just wanted to show you the bed so far. It's super adorable, especially once you get the cushions in there. So you can stop there. All that is a 10-foot 2x8 and a little rectangle of 1/2 inch ply. It's a super simple and affordable and adorable build. So the options there, you can stop here. I'm gonna add a little bit more flair, but if you're looking for something simple, adorable, affordable, you can stop here.
For the corners, I used 1 inch angled black metal from Home Depot and cut it using tin snips, and then I filed down the edges using a steel file. I used a scrap piece of wood as to not put holes in my workbench and marked where I wanted my bolts to go, shifting the space slightly between front and back so that the bolts didn't meet in the middle and crack the wood. Then I spray painted the corner pieces and bolts with Rust-Oleum Satin Black spray paint. I placed my corners on and marked where the bolts need to go, then pre-drilled my holes. 1-inch lag bolts for the corners, tightening them by hand and then by wrench. Then last but not least, I decided to add some pipe handles on the top. These were intended to be for aesthetics only, but they turned out strong enough to use to lift the bed. First I measured to make sure my handles were centered. Then I used a 3/4 of an inch spade bit to make my holes. Then I assembled my handle. I used a 6-inch 3/8 black steel pipe and two 90-degree elbows on each side with coordinating closed nipples. Then I used JB Weld to hold it all together. I was quite generous with the JB Weld and was sure to put it in the holes as well as on the pipe. Once that dries, you're done. I made a simple cushion to go with it with the help of my mother's sewing skills and found a nice spot for it in the living room.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that little notification bell for more super trendy, budget-friendly ways to decorate your home. You can also check me out on Instagram at @TimBrianT_ for more behind the scenes.